All right, good morning, everybody. I got some time. I figure I'll go ahead and start 8.5, see how far we can get. So I didn't watch the video, but I've decided at this point, they keep introducing new methods, right? So, you know what? It's time to start going through the examples and seeing what's getting given to us. So the first example for 8.5 is 8.5.3, which is coin flips. And for this one in particular, um, I just started, as you can see, I looked at them briefly. This one didn't seem too hard when I clicked run code. It looks like it generates 0 through 100. Well, really 0 through 99, which is like 1 through 100, right? Indexes start at 0 for arrays. It prints out a randomized coin flip, heads or tails, and it doesn't look like it's too hard. They have a variable that they define at the top. They're going to say it flips 100 times. So if I were to change this to 10 times, that to 0 to 9, right? And that's what it does. So it says, all right, we're going to start this. We're going to create this variable called flips, and that's going to equal to flip coins. Now, I was like, wait, what is flip coins? Right? And I was like, oh, okay. Right here, they redefined it. They made this function right down here. So flip the coins, they create a new variable called flips. Well, it's actually an array, seen by the brackets. So from i's to 0 to the number of flips, if it's true, it's heads. Otherwise, it's false. So they get a randomizer, and the randomizer will come out true or false. And if it's true, they said heads, and if it's false, tails. They could have done it the other way around. It really could have been anything. They just said if true, heads, right? Tails never fails, in my opinion, so that should have been first. I'm just kidding. Because there's no void in here, right? We have to return the array flips. Something has to be returned. So this packet, this this envelope of information has to be returned back up here. And we're returning it into flips. And so it's going to print the array flips. So this is something that's pretty new, print array. I've never seen that before. I've always seen print line. So then I was looking at this. I'm like, what is print array? And then that's when I noticed that print array was defined down here, right? From I0 all the way to the size, or rather the length, which would in this case would be 10, right? They could have just done number of flips, which I think would have been, more like it probably should have been the the right way to go about this, because think about it. What's the array? Well, in this case, the array is what's been given. In this case, it's flipped. So in this case, they're going to print the array of any array that they've made. So this code could be, expanded in the future. So that way, print array could be for any array and not just the one that's in our code. So I see how it was more generic, and then it has more use than what we've seen. But they really just could have done over here number of flips, or right here rather. I is less for our specific code, and so that's how that code worked. So then we work on to the next one. I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, we got a radius, we have a number of circles, we got a delay. If we click run, holy cow! So basically what they're doing is they're creating a bunch of circles, and it's on a timer. So we're gonna have to use the set timer that we've used in the past, and I can see that right here. They create a function called go crazy, and I can see that down here, and there's a delay, and that delay is 100 milliseconds. There's 7 circles that are going to be created with a radius of 40. So at any given time, there's 7 circles, always changing colors, changing locations. So this is like a randomizer. I'm like, cool. Here's our array called circles. So they're going to create any number of circles, which is done right here. Set the timer, let them go crazy. Cool. Let's create the circles, and then let's create go crazy. All right, let's do create circles and go crazy. Cool. So how many circles do we want? Well, up to the number of circles that we defined. So 4. This right here. We're going to create a number of circles, right? And we're going to update the circle. What in the world is update circle? I've never seen update circle before in my life. Well, that's when I was like, well, maybe it's somewhere in the code. Yes, it is. Update circle. All right, so give me the circle. Here, update it. It's X position, its Y position, and its color. So what happened here? It randomized with next int its radius and its width. So the entire width of the screen minus the radius. Yeah, so I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure. What in the world is going on with this code at the moment? I think I got it. I understand what's going on here. So this has to do with the next int number. Give me a number between these two values. So they give me a number between the radius of the circle. So that way the circle doesn't go off screen. So start and end. That makes sense. So every circle is going to be different. So they're going to update the circle that's being added, and then they're going to add it to just overall the code, right? And then it's going to add it to the array, right? So this updates the circle. This makes the circle like appear on the screen. This one adds it to the array, so to speak. And then Go Crazy says for I equals 0 all the way to the number of circles in this that we've made up here. So if we've created 7 circles from 1 to 7, or from, I'm sorry, 0 to 7. Well, it'd be 0 to 6, 0 being, counting them, 7 total, right? Because indexes start at 0. Update the circles, right? So circle I, the very first circle in the index is that one. So this is kind of an interesting code. We're going to go ahead and start 8.5. I know that was a lot of explaining. I just wanted to make sure that I could actually understand what was being done before I went ahead and just dove right into the first one, and seeing what we've been given. I didn't even read the assignment. Starting with our program that creates an array of coin flips, and add a function that prints out the total number of heads and the total number of tails flipped. Your function should take the array of flips as a parameter like this. So let's go ahead and okay, so our code here, so flips. So count heads in, so it should add a function that, but I think what we're going to do is right here, we're going to add count heads and tails flips, right? So it's going to print it, it's going to count it. And then in here, we should also have somewhere, we should have some kind of line in here. Print line, number of heads. And we'll print that variable out. Print line. And then we're going to the number of tails printed. Okay. So we're going to have to add some code here, obviously. Well, I could. There's 2 ways I can do this. I could up here every time a heads is flipped, I could add to a count, and then I could say heads equals 0, tails equals 0, count plus plus, count plus plus in here. But I think the issue with that is it will well, flips is an array, right? Like it's adding more objects to the array, and I don't want to create a variable in here that's not going to be referenced later on. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put that in here, right? Variable heads, and then variable tails. And then what I need to do is probably reference somewhere in here. Reference the flips array and figure out heads versus tails. So let's equals 0, right? First, let's start our own count. Yeah, and then we have to, let's print, don't forget, in here we have to print head. I always like to do that check because they always are like, oh, you're wrong because you didn't have something that looked exactly like what we wanted. We wanted to say this specifically. Tails plus tails. Okay, well, we got that, right? I bet you if we click run code, it'll actually put heads. There it is, right there at the bottom, right? So we're doing something right so far, so that looks good. Now we just have to reference that that flips that array. So we have to figure out how many heads and tails there are in here. So I want to do something like this. I want to use a for loop. I want to go through the entire thing. I'm actually going to make that a top line comment. There we go. And I equals number of flips. I'm going to make it related to the flips array. Flips dot, what is it? Array length? Oh, yeah. Right, so for the entire length of this, if I'm going to do heads plus, then down here I'm going to do tails plus, right? So then this is going to be if flips at I, right, equals heads, but this is this heads. So it's a string. So if the string inside was head, it'll count up for heads. Otherwise, it'll count up for tails. And then every time it gets started, does it run the head? Tails. Wow, that's exactly 60/40. Did it work? Yeah, all right. I like easy ones. That's cool. I like that one. All right, we're going to submit and continue on. All right, what's going on with this one? Starting with our program that generates a list of coin flips. Thank you for helping me out. Write a program to print out the longest streak of heads in the list. Oh my god, this is going to be difficult. The longest streak of heads is 3. Okay. Longest streak for flips. We're going to do that. And then we're going to create a function down here called longest streak. And that's going to be for the flips. Cool. Now, what we're going to need to do is actually, let's use our code that we wrote here to just guide us. Now, here's what I'm thinking. We're going to run the code, and it's going to say, it's gonna have to compare it, right? If I is heads and I minus minus equals heads, right? So this is gonna be something like variable longest long streak, right? And then that equals 0 or 1 because you can't get higher than that, right? Because you have to start at least 1. What we're gonna do, we're going to give ourselves some space to look at first off. We're gonna print line. Okay, I was thinking we're gonna do heads or tails. Longest heads streak. We're gonna print line. How does it want it to look? Of course it did. The longest streak is boom. Oh, what's going on? What happened? Ooh, nice. I'm actually recording right now. It's all right. It's all right. Trying to figure out this code and talk about what's going on. So, you know any coding? Well, this is they gave us a code and it prints out heads or tails. So now we have to write a code that figures out what's the longest streak of heads. So, you have to, and I'm recording it so that way I can give it to the kids. That way if they have it, just go to the video. I just do it and what I go through. I'll do some pain sometimes. I go through some pain. There are a lot. I've actually made probably, I don't know, probably this year I've probably made 10 videos that I've had to not put out because I couldn't complete it. Time. I spent like an hour doing one section. Like, I'll come back to it. And then like I'll be walking, I'm like, oh, idiot, I'm doing it way longer. You got Brashar? Who's that? Oh, so he has a downgrade. Him. Oh, that's kind of which is crazy because y'all spent so much precious graph stock on DBs. And well, do right, but now y'all expecting to win still. Right. Yeah, that's an issue. That's definitely right in Florida. I got a warning on my car this morning. You could have ice on the road, and I said I didn't even know my car had this warning. Oh my god, man. Oh yeah, right. Chipping ice off. I was like I didn't know what to do, so I didn't have a chipper, and I was like I don't got like one of those little scrapers. Is that what you did? I took a cup. I got a cup of water and I just made it hot in the microwave and I just went and I turned the windshield wipers on. Oh man, we're dumb. We're smart. We got it. We didn't complain. But if whoever hears this, if they're like in like New York and they're like, these guys don't have an ice chipper for their car, Floridians. Just know that this video was made 2 days before the Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens. We don't know who's gonna win. Oh, I watched the first game between Brady and Mahomes. It was like on like a special repeat, you know. Yeah, 43-40. Holy cow! That Patriots team that's when they still had Gronk. What?
That's what I'm saying. I don't even.
Yo, he was doing things in that game. I think that was his first or second season. Yeah, he was doing things in that game that were just amazing. He was making throws. He made one throw on the run to a running back, and he had probably guard. Running back's like 30 yards downfield, running behind a free safety, mind you.
Did you see Adam sack?
Oh, and he like curled up, caught it.
Yeah, gotta be like
You,
drop it right there.
you might be
Under
onto
pressure.
something. Yeah, you might be onto something. Yeah, right. Um, all right. Did you know Kelsey's 31? What? I don't know. That depends on who I guess the 49ers get. Yeah. And then he had Jimmy G. I like Debo. I heard that the Rams made a hard push for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't go there. Kansas City, how did in bad weather? Is it? Oh, it doesn't make any difference. This game. You know who could make a difference too? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, A Breezy baby, Pringle. Shut up. Stop it. Merkel Hardman, because Demarcus Robinson isn't playing. He's got that COVID. Oh, no. Wait, that's serious? That's a real picture? I thought you were joking with me.
how's it?
Well,
I was like, if they,
my code works, but it doesn't work. So, yep. Oh. I'm lucky that I've done a Java course in the past, and I remember doing something like this. This is, well, it's called video game design, this particular course in CodeHS. But basically, it's just teaching you how to code. That's really it. There's a lot to it, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really too much a fan of coding. There's so much that happens. Like right here, entirely sure what exactly is wrong with the code at the moment. Thinking that spelling, because I'm just spelling things wrong. So like right here, this didn't work because I put longest and I had put long up here, and so then the whole code wasn't working because I put current head streak up here and everything else was current streak. So like if you forget that you put a current heads, like if you forget an S, it doesn't work. If you forget a colon, it doesn't work. So computers are smart. I like to say computers are dumb. They don't know anything. You have to tell them everything. But I'm dumb myself, so I'm a dumb person coding a dumber device. Right, right. Yeah, there are debuggers out there that'll say, "Hey, is this what you meant?" And now I know. I completely forgot to do something. I'm looking at this and I'm like, why is it not working? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I got my whole command here working, and that's right, but I didn't even write the basics to this thing, which was count the entire array. So like, I just said if the I is heads. Well, there's no I in here. I'm all over the place this morning. Coding for me is like, it takes me time. And then I'm very lazy too. I like to copy code and make sure I don't have to write as much as possible. You know, Bill Gates once said he'll hire the laziest guy possible because he'll get it done the fastest way. Oh my god. I did see that. What? Yeah, who's somebody's stepping up for him. Oh, so check this out. I saw an article on Reddit, which was a review from Harvard. Apparently, Bezos back in like '93 or something from that time went to Harvard with his business model. He did that so people could you know uh, like look at his stuff, and the article said this is a doomed business. There's no way it's going to survive. Just sell. Oh, and it said sell out to what you call it? It said sell out to Barnes and Noble now. They're all from Harvard. It just means nothing to me anymore. I got it. Got it working. I was missing a bracket, then I had a bracket, then I had a bracket, and then I had longest somewhere. Missing another bracket. Alright. That's it for me. I just spent 20 minutes doing 2 exercises. I'm done. What? Yeah. It says I didn't define a function called longest head streak. So what I have to do up here is and nowhere does it say in the assignment details that no. Yeah, right. That was I mean, I just happen to know that you need to return something. But nowhere did the program say, "Hey guys, we're at this moment in our life where you need to do this." Oh my god. Now we're good. Couple copy paste and now. Alright, I'm done. Recording's over. I hope I look back at this recording and say, man, those were